Vista. We set up a company called Aurora Environmental in those days, in 2000, to do marine environmental consultancy, and we were doing a mix of work for the oil industry, renewables, but it was all very much in its infancy in those days, and a lot of work for the aquaculture industry, and the ports away, Orkney harbours too, so a bit of marine environmental consultancy. Leslie was our first employee.
Yes, I was. I joined in October 2000.
Yeah. And then we moved up to this building in 2004, and then we became part of the Xodus Group in 2007, which was very exciting for us because it meant we were becoming part of an engineering company, and we became the environment division for their engineering company. So we were mixing up science with engineering and increasing the scope of work that we were working on, from our quite limited palette to now we've got 70 environmental consultants who work all over the world, and 20 of them are here in Orkney. But it means that, we work on local projects, but we also work on international engineering projects. And most of the work we are involved with is for the energy industry, so it's oil and gas and low carbon. Actually, from the start, probably a good more than 50% of our work was outside Orkney. We were supporting the oil industry out of Aberdeen a lot, and also aquaculture down the west coast. We also had projects offshore Morocco and Ghana, but since we've become part of Xodus, we're working in countries like Kurdistan and Kenya, England. Where else are we working? All over. Faroe. Oh yeah, we've got environment guys based out in Houston in the States. We've got working in Nigeria, Ghana. I might have said Ghana already. All over. It's pretty good actually. Typically, we get involved really early. So when they go out when they're going out to explore for oil, they use seismic survey methods, which can be very noisy and have effects on marine mammals if it's offshore, or humans actually if it's onshore, and other animals. So we do a lot of work looking at mitigating the effects on marine mammals and the effects on any flora and fauna from seismic survey. And then we go on, so if they successfully find a reservoir of oil, they'll move on to doing exploration drilling and appraisal drilling, just to see if what they found from seismic information is actually developable reserve. So we again then help them minimise things like discharges from drill cuttings, pollution to water, atmospheric emissions. So we're helping them both with their planning approvals, because they have to do environmental impact assessment, or EIA, to get through the planning. But we also work, which is the beauty of working with an engineering company, is we work to actually reduce or remove those impacts at the design stage of the programme before it actually goes ahead. And then we move on through into their field development and on into helping them through operation, so continually helping them monitor and manage their environmental effects. And now we're starting to get involved in decommissioning projects as well, so managing the removal of the oil industry from wherever they have been, and I wouldn't say to clean seabed, but to minimal effect seabed, which was the commitment they made way back in the 70s. And then renewables, very similar, but because renewables is a more experimental industry, there's a lot more work at the front end trying to better understand whether marine renewables might have an effect on the marine environment. I mean, they are obviously part of the sustainable energy future, but it's making sure that by being sustainable energy, they also have a minimal effect. So there's a bit more kind of research in terms of understanding what those effects might be, which can then feed into supporting them as they go from test sites like we have here in Orkney to more commercial, which we haven't yet seen, but the big scale commercial wave and tidal energy sites. We're now going from experimental to demonstration commercial. That's what's happening at the moment, but the future will see big scale offshore marine energy, and it's what we learn now we'll be able to bring in to help them when they go on to bigger scale management, bigger scale development. So all interesting stuff, and it's interesting there are parallels, even though, you know, oil industry and low carbon can seem poles apart. Their impact in the marine environment in some aspects can be very similar, so there are parallels we can take from one industry to the next, and not just an environment, but safety is another one where you've got a huge track record of learning, sometimes the hard way unfortunately, from the oil industry offshore, that can be transferable knowledge to the renewables industry, with the offshore renewables industry. We have people like, we have zoologists and ecologists and oceanographers, we have chemists, we have chemical engineers, process engineers, we have quite a mixed bag of disciplines, because in order to work, to be able to deliver what we need for each study, we actually need a lot of disciplines. But they all have an interest in environment, and in Orkney anyway, an interest in the marine environment behind them as well, I would say. And then we do a lot of in-house training, so we train in EIAs, and we train in legislation and that type of thing to help them. But their background degrees are pretty, and geographers, we mustn't forget the geographers. We've got quite a mixed bag of original disciplines, from science to engineering, kind of come together. Part of the job I enjoy, I mean, we've taken a lot of postgraduates from the Heriot Watt Masters scheme, but we've also taken a lot of local Orcadians. I think we have got approximately 40–50% of people here are originally Orcadian, went through or at least went through the Orkney educational system, and there are more that have been started here and are still either working for us but in other offices, or through us are now working in Kuala Lumpur or Germany and similar jobs. And we've had people who have started with us, worked for us and built up their skills, have gone elsewhere, and we're now starting to see one or two returning. So yes, we do create a lot of opportunity for people with an interest in science and in the marine industry world to be able to gain a career here. Quite proud of that, really. So yeah, I don't know how many we've taken through the doors over the years. Quite a lot. And a lot, and it's nice. A lot of them have. We don't have very high staff turnover. A lot of people stick around, which is good, and have gone up the ladder. Like Leslie.